Hey guys, welcome to the Psychic War Room. My name is Zaltar Magic, and in this wartime, when Russia is invading the Ukraine, we're answering questions with the use of a tarot deck and numerology and astrology as well of the current events and what will happen in the future. And today's question, a big, major question, maybe the biggest of them all, is will Russia and NATO member countries face off in a direct war fight? Indirectly, they do it right now because NATO member countries are supplying Ukraine with weapons and other resources. But so far, the U.S. President Joseph Biden is vowing not to send U.S. troops to Ukraine. Obviously, he very recently he pulled out. Catastrophically, he pulled out American allied troops from Afghanistan. So he's watching his political career not to get demolished or torn up as far as sending the U.S. troops to Ukraine. But as far as many of you know that NATO member countries have Article 5, which means that if any of the member countries are attacked, the entire alliance goes into a war against that aggressor. So, per se, if Lithuania or Slovakia were to be attacked, all the member countries are sending their troops, their military resources, and anything that they can provide to fight the attacker. So, since Ukraine is not a NATO member country, and this war is about possibility of Ukraine's strong interest in joining the NATO, which understandably Russia does not want because it is already surrounded from NATO countries by 180 degrees, half a circle. I mean, if you look at the map of the NATO member countries and the Russia, if you have a circle and you cut it in half, that 180 degrees from north, west, and the south, these are all member countries. And in addition, if we added Moldova and Ukraine, that is just too much, way too much for Russia, for the security of the Russian Federation to withstand. The red line has already been crossed way too far for Russia. That's why they are invading Ukraine, and in order to stop this process of even thinking about joining the NATO countries. Now, let's find out if Russia and NATO member countries will go into a direct war. Tarot deck, Crowleys. Will Russia and NATO member countries go into a direct war? Will Russia and NATO fight a direct war? Will NATO and Russia fight a direct war? Will NATO and Russia fight a direct war? And the time frame we are setting this up for 3 months because the developments, the situations is changing from day to day or on hourly basis. So 3 months is more than enough to ask a question. All right, so we're going further. Let's shuffle the cards. Will Russia and NATO member countries fight a direct war? Russia versus NATO, will they fight a war? Russia and the NATO, will they fight in a war? The card representing the situation. The Emperor. What's going on right now? Star. What is happening? What's helping the current situation? Knight of Swords. What's blocking the current situation? The Sun. Who or what caused the current situation? Strength. Okay. How does Russia feel about fighting with NATO countries directly? Seven of Swords. How does NATO feel about fighting Russia directly? Seven of Wands. Oh, apologize, Nine of Wands. What happened in the recent past? Page of Pentacles. Will Russia and NATO member countries fight a direct war within the next 3 months? That's Nine of Swords. Okay. How will NATO countries feel about it? We're going for the three month time frame. The Moon. How will Russia feel about fighting NATO? Queen of Wands. What will be the surrounding environment? Hermit. The invisible force acting upon the situation. The Pope. Oh, there's a Pope. Pope Francis will intervene possibly. All right. What is Russia afraid of while fighting NATO? What is Russia afraid of? Queen of Pentacles. What is NATO afraid of fighting Russia? Six of Cups. Advice for Russia. Three of Swords. Advice for the NATO countries. Seven of Cups. And the outcome card. Will NATO and Russia fight direct war within the next 3 months? Where NATO member countries and Russia fight direct war within the next 3 months. They got Temperance. Okay. Please give me an explanation for the card of Temperance. Will NATO and Russia fight a direct war within 3 months? Ace of Pentacles. All right. And in the background, we have Judgment. Judgment Night. All right. I'll take a moment to analyze the cards and relay the information to you. All right, guys. Here's my assessment for you. Big answer to the question: will Russia and NATO fight a direct war within the next 3 months? Okay, the first card was that describes the current situation is the Emperor, which means the war. The war is going on. Not, or people in the high command are like presidents and prime ministers are, office officials are engaging in possibly in hidden talks. Just like with any war, or like whenever the politician says, we did not talk with terrorists. This is the for the special forces and the people in the know. It's the information. Oh yes, we are negotiating with the terrorists right now as we speak, under the table, somewhere in the hidden fucking hotel room, or somewhere else, or on Zoom or on Skype. So there are talks. There are always talks are going on. Whenever they say they do not talk with, or Biden says, "Oh, I'm not going to talk to Putin," he's probably hanging on the phone, waiting on the hold for Putin to pick up the call. That's the reality. For the people who know diplomacy or are in security services, you people know that these talks are taking place as of now. And whatever you're force-fed with the TV and other media, don't believe. That's why I'm doing this channel. That is exactly why I'm doing this channel and showing this to you guys, so you know really what in the fuck is going on behind the scenes and what will materialize. I'm telling you the stuff no one else will tell you. No CNN, no Fox News, no European media outlets, no RT. Nobody's going to tell you what I'm telling you right now. That's why it's so important to subscribe to this channel, like, comment, and share. Please do me a favor and do that. And I will keep posting more and more of these videos. And you please go ahead in the comment, ask questions. What would you like to know about the war? And then I will look into it and ask Tarot that precise question, and I'll give you the answer, so you will be in the know. Okay, so we got the Emperor, the state of war. Officials are talking, hidden talks. Okay, what's going on right now? The card of Star. Start with Knight of Swords. The combination of these two cards is telling me that the warriors are hopeful. They're hopeful for peaceful, or they're hopeful not to fight. Actually, they know they are so strong. Russia is so strong, and NATO is so strong with all the weapons. It would just fry this continent, turn it into a inferno, basically, a fireground. So the Star and the Knight of Swords is going to tell us that they're hopeful to not to fight. Okay, they're not looking into it. What's blocking? The Sun. Even further, not blocking. Not not advancing with a full-on engagement between the two countries. What caused the current situation to strengthen? So the two opposing forces are coming into the conclusion that if we directly engage in the war, this continent most likely will not look what it looked like just a few days ago. Okay, what's in the head of, what's Russia thinking? That if about directly fighting NATO countries, if it did fight, it would do it as in clandestine war, hidden war, cyber attacks. But as far as security services, doing espionage, doing sabotages as well, this type of war, but they're not thinking about open fire, tank to tank, fighter jet to fighter jet in war. They're not looking into that. They know it's just too much. What is NATO thinking? NATO wants the same thing, basically. As in, they know they would not come out of it as winners. Possibly, they know how powerful Russian arsenal is, and they know it's gonna take hundreds of thousands of lives, destroyed cities, doomsday. So they're not very hot on the idea of directly fighting Russia. That's why they are not. That's why Biden said we are not sending U.S. troops to Ukraine, because every American president has balls to send American troops to the third world country or Middle East or whatever, because it's different fighting a war against guys riding donkeys versus airplanes type of Su-57 or a Su-35 MiGs and all of that, nuclear submarines. It's a different type of enemy, and they fully understand that all too well, not to engage in a war with Russia. Nobody wants that. You don't want it. I don't want it. And neither do the politicians. If Russia were another like Turkmenistan or other non-nuclear non-nuclear powerhouse, they would go in without even hesitation, because every U.S. president wants a piece of something, piece of war. Every U.S. president has blood on his hands, and UK Prime Minister as well. Okay, let's move on. Within the next 3 months, first month, they will be thinking and worrying about it. Certainly worrying about the possibility of this war expanding onto the NATO countries. And Nine of Swords is Mars in Gemini. Mars, the god of war. So Mars, fighting, war, Gemini, thinking about war, worrying about war. All right, how would Russia feel about it if they had to go into Queen of Wands? Fuck it, let's go in. You want it? I'll give it to you. They don't care. At this time, Russia does not care. Queen of Wands. You want it? You got it. Come and get some. How does NATO feel about it? Oh, no, moon. No, 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 we don't want that. No, no. We'll talk big, article, talk about Article 5 being invoked, but none of the NATO member countries want that. And the surrounding environment is the hermit. They don't want that. Hermit means seclusion, isolation, rethinking the current situation. Definitely not. The invisible force. Well, just like I said earlier, when I was pulling the cards out of the deck, it might be the clergy, the Orthodox Church, the Catholic Church. They're always whispering in ruler's ear of what to do, what not to do, what would God like, and shit like that, right? Always done that, always be doing it. All right, what is Russia afraid of? Queen of Pentacles. Gaining land. They know if they gain land, they will have problems. Let's say if they enter any of the NATO member countries and try to conquer it, they'll have a problem. They are afraid of gaining more land. And we are not talking about Ukraine. Ukraine is fine. They're fine with taking over Ukraine. What is NATO afraid of in a face-off with Russia? Six of Cups means giving the land. NATO is afraid of giving up any of the NATO member countries' land. Advice for Russia: Three of Swords, meaning put down your weapons. Don't do it. Take your loss. Cut your losses. What is advice for NATO? It's don't do it. Don't do it as well. Seven of Cups means being a little bit confused, not knowing what to do, which way to go. So if Russia puts down the swords, NATO countries will be not sure what to do in this situation, because there are so many. See, Russia is all by herself. There's one man ruling the country for the majority of it, but member countries have so many different politicians involved, and they all have different opinions. Okay, and the outcome is the Temperance, along with Ace of Pentacles, meaning within the next 3 months, I foresee some kind of not war, not a direct war. Actually, I see, I don't know if we call it the truce, but definitely talks, de-escalation. I don't see a direct war between Russia and NATO. Definitely not. I see diplomatic resolution to the current state of affairs. And in the background, we have a judgment, and the judgment card confirms exactly what I just said, that decisions will be made at the highest level. All right, guys, here we go. So you can sleep soundly at night, knowing that within the next 3 months, there's not going to be a direct war between Russia and NATO. So I want you to like, subscribe, and share my channel for others to know and find out, so they can sleep soundly as well. I'll see you next time.